just checking with the boss. Okay, so attendees are coming in now, and then we'll get started, and I will just quickly share the screen. Hopefully everyone can see that so that people know where they are. Let me just get
Penny just can't get in.
To the Zoom.
Yeah.
Okay, we've got around 50 people, which is fantastic. Thank you everyone for joining. If we just give it a few more seconds, we're waiting for one of the board to come in as well. Hopefully everyone can hear me well. If you've got any problems or anything, please just let us know in the chat or in the Q&A, and we'll try and deal with that. Okay, let's get started. Let's get started because it's been a long week already. We're not quite there, but thank you everyone for joining us today and for coming back for this second part of the AGM. Hopefully you can all hear me well. My name's Jamie Bridge. I'm the chair of the Vienna NGO Committee, so thank you for joining us. I'm joined by other members of the board and also by members of the Nominations Committee. If I can just click through to the next slide. Yeah, so just to let everyone know, the meeting is being recorded, mainly just, well, partly to help us produce the minutes, but also for those who aren't able to join us live, either because of time zones or because there's so much going on. I think the plenary is still going on at the moment, and you know, and other events as well. So we're recording it, you know, to put it up online so that people can follow it later. And if at any point, we've set it up as a webinar, but if at any point you have any questions, please put them in the chat, or you can use the Q&A box, which we've enabled as well, or just raise your hand, and we will try to take those comments as quickly as we can. And on that, actually, I can see John Redmond, you've got your hand raised. So can I give you the floor nice and early, John? Are you there? John? Sorry, you appear to still be muted.
How about now?
Yeah, perfect. Over to you, John.
I didn't mean to raise my hand. I was actually just trying to chat, but
okay.
But I just wanted to congratulate you on your re-election, and I wanted to congratulate the rest of the board as well. I think you do a great job. I think the board does a great job, and I think the new members to the board are going to do an exceptional job as well. So I just wanted to congratulate you. That's all.
Thanks, John. That's really appreciated. But also, spoiler alert, because the next slide is the results of the election. but thank you so much. I do really appreciate it, John. Thank you. It's much appreciated, and I'm glad you could join us today. Okay, so yeah, as I say, any questions, please let us know as we go, and we'll try and get through it as quick as we can. So we did most of the agenda items last week, and thanks to everyone who joined us for the part one last week. This week, tonight we just have a few more things to do. So first of all, the Nominations Committee will confirm the results for everyone from the elections. We'll then appoint a new auditor for the coming 2 years. And then there's an opportunity for any other business that we may have at the end. The other agenda item that you will not see on the screen is originally agenda item 13, which is the appointment of a nominations committee for next year. As you know, at the AGM part 1, we adopted a proposal to reconsider and have a discussion about the nomination committee's role. So there's no point in appointing a new committee until that discussion has happened. So the nominations committee will be appointed during the year at an extraordinary general meeting. And obviously we'll give everyone the standard amount of notice and information around that when that's ready to happen. So without further ado, I'd like to hand over to the nominations committee, who can take us through the results. Orsi or Clement, Clement, do we have, Orsi, are you with us? And if so, do I need to give you?
I am here.
Yes.
Oh, and you can hear me. Okay, perfect.
And I've got the slides, so just let me know what you know when you want me to click through the slides.
Yeah, let's do them.
Thank you.
All right. So as you can see, we have the winner for the chairperson, Jamie Bridge. He won 88 votes out of 147. So congratulations, Jamie, and thank you for running, John. I can confirm the result of the chairman.
Thank you.
And then for deputy treasurer, we had the same amount of votes, and Heloisa won with 59 votes, and I can confirm her as the new deputy treasurer of the board.
Thank you, Orsi.
And so for deputy secretary, Penny Hill won with 73 votes out of 145. And I can confirm her as the new deputy secretary of the board. Congratulations, y'all, and thanks for everyone for their patience and their willingness to take part in this new format of voting.
Thank you, Orsi, and yeah, and thank you as well to the nominations committee, because this has been an exceptional year to organise things, and I think you've done an amazing job of, you know, basically having to come up with this whole system from scratch with Sarah's help as well. So thank you so much for managing the process. And I don't know, Penny and Heloisa, are you with us so that you can turn your cameras on and say hello, possibly? I know, Penny, you were having problems accessing.
Members of the forum, one climate change.
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Heloisa. Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And
Thank you for the votes.
And Penny, do we have you as well?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm here. Thank you, everybody, for your votes. I'm really looking forward to the next 2 years on the board.
Awesome. Congratulations to you both. And I just want to also take the moment, if I can, just to, I don't know if he's actually on the call, but I just want to put on record all of our thanks to Zoran, who was the deputy treasurer for the last few years, and you know, was an excellent board member to have, and a really made some really good contributions to the board, and decided not to run this time for various reasons, but I just want to put on record, you know, a big thank you to Zoran for everything he's done as well. So yeah, thank you, and I'm sure you'll share that with me as well, everyone. Okay, probably best at this point, are there any questions or any questions coming up? I'm looking in the Q&A.
Jamie, maybe
Yes.
one question regarding the still open membership applications that we still have as a backlog from the couple of weeks before CND.
Okay.
And during CND.
Yeah, so any membership applications that were not completed or still had open questions by the deadline that we set before CND, that's going to be one of the first tasks for the new board. So we haven't set a date for the next board meeting yet, but we will do, and I'd imagine we're going to meet probably early May. And yeah, one of the first agenda items will be to work through that backlog, and obviously, you know, to welcome as many new members as we can. So yeah, so if anyone's not clear about the status of their application or status of someone else's application, please do let us know. You know, Sarah would be happy to give you those updates. And in particular, I think, Sarah, there's still a few organizations we're kind of waiting to hear back from. Is that right?
Yes, there are still a few organizations that we're waiting to hear back from. And I've seen through last week and this week, there are also a lot of new applications, which I haven't taken a look at yet.
Okay. So we will get through those. You know, we try to go through this process. It does take a bit of time because we want to review each one carefully and make sure that we're doing our job as a board. So please bear with us. But yeah, that will be one of the first tasks for the new board. You know, now that once the CND is passed, yeah, to go through that backlog and to deal with that as well. Thank you. Any other questions or any other points people want to raise? No? Okay. So thank you. And coming back to the agenda, that leaves us with just one thing left to do, really, which is to appoint a new auditor. And normally at this point, when we're all in the room together, we just look for a hand that sometimes kind of sheepishly goes up at the back of the room. Any volunteers for this role? You'd be one of the 2 auditors, and basically what we require from you is before the next AGM is to review the accounts for the year and to give your professional opinion that they are, that we've been managing the finances appropriately and responsibly. Any volunteers? I see a hand raised, but how do I get to it? So, oh, Trixie, is that a hand raised in volunteering? Can we give Beatrix?
Do you hear me?
Yes, we can. Hi.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, that's a hand raised for volunteering.
Oh, thank you. Okay, and do you want to just quickly introduce yourself, Beatrix, just for those who might not know you?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Beatrix Wash. I'm a chapter leader and consultant for Students for Sensible Drug Policy, and I'm also an international working group member of Youth Rise. And I've been working in these capacities for almost 2 years now, and I have a background in public policy. Not sure if anything more is relevant at this point.
That's great. Where are you based?
Oh yeah, I'm based in Hungary.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. So,
and Beatrix, sorry, can you also maybe drop me an email with your email address so that I have your email address as well?
Sure, yeah.
Thank you so much.
And I just want to make sure we're not missing anyone. It's not often, we don't often get overwhelmed with volunteers for the auditor role. So I just want to make sure that we're capturing everyone. Is everyone happy with this, or I'll give the floor now to, or can we please give the floor to Eva?
Eva, you have the floor.
Yes. You can unmute.
So much. Actually, I was a little bit confused whether you needed a second volunteer. If you do, I'd be happy to put my name forward. Thank you.
We only needed one.
Right.
Obviously, I've never turned down a volunteer. Hopefully, you know that by now. And I'm assuming, John, because I see, John, you have your hand raised as well. Did you want to? Because obviously you're the other auditor, your term is over the next year as well. So did you want to intervene at this point?
No, I just wanted to make sure that you guys knew that I was happy to continue on with it. That's all.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much, John. So, I mean, Eva, if you would like to do it, I'm very happy to. I think it's fine to have 3. I think, if you want to do it, or maybe you could volunteer next year if you prefer. It's entirely up to you.
I can do that next year. Then we have 2 excellent candidates for this year. So I'm fine with it. That's fine.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. That's great. Any objections? I think this is probably the best way to do it. I don't have a gavel, obviously. I've stolen my child's toy hammer from his tool set. So I've got that, so we can make any decisions today. Any final comments or any objections to that nomination? I see none. It is gavelled. I think it's going to break my desk if I'm not careful. Okay, and that takes us on to any other business. One of the things I'd like to raise, just from our side, is, and I think we did mention it in the last meeting as well, is again, one of the things that the board will do in line with the statutes is do a review of the membership. We haven't, for various reasons, done that for a while. So we'll be reviewing the membership in terms of member engagement and trying to reach out, particularly to those organisations that we haven't heard from or haven't paid their fee for a certain number of years. We've also received, since the meeting on Thursday, we've also received feedback from some members about other members who appeared on the list. So we will look into all of those kind of cases, or all of those kind of arguments as well. So I just wanted to let you know that that's in the work plan for the board, and I'd imagine we'll be like reporting on that to you during the year as well. So I just wanted to flag that. And Michael, you have your hand raised.
Thank you, Jamie. I had a somewhat complicated issue I want to try to broach and get it out in one breath. Hopefully I'll be able to do it fairly quickly. I beg the indulgence of the committee in that I think it really does affect a very important subject matter of how we go about choosing speakers to from the Vienna NGO Committee's recommendations to present at the end of plenaries during the the main commission meetings. And for those who don't know me, Michael Crowitz, we worked with Veterans for Compassion back from 1998 to 2008. I'm a cannabis activist. I mean, many of you may have worked with me for many years. I've never known that essentially I'm a cannabis activist. We didn't really do any cannabis activism in those 10 years. We worked on infrastructure, the New York NGO Committee, the Vienna NGO Committee, and the culmination of that was the Beyond 2008 resolution, which if you haven't read it, you should. It's really an important part of the baseline of our current relationship that we have with the drug control program. But I'm a speaker for and a representative of the cannabis stakeholder group. It's become an issue for us because we started working on cannabis stuff, like I said, about 10 years ago. We've had, I don't know, 10 or 15 side events, 10 or 15 panel displays and stuff, and sticking to the cannabis issues. I mean, we recognize that cannabis extends over into other issues. I mean, we certainly see the nexus, especially as military veterans, of drug abuse, the nexus of drug addiction treatment, prevention, rehabilitation, even things like needle exchange. I mean, veterans lead the statistics in homelessness, and we can speak to a lot of different issues, but we stick to cannabis. And I think it's really important. I mean, we went to Geneva in 2015. We brought in over 215 NGOs into that process, over 215 NGOs that we brought into the process in Geneva, made presentations in Vienna at these various Vienna NGO Committee meetings, and to a certain extent were dismissed, that we would never get the World Health Organization to change their position. We would never get a vote at the CND by our own people, by our own drug policy reform movement. And yet our own drug policy reform movement is very quick to step in and speak for our cannabis stakeholder group. And those opposed to cannabis are very quick to step in and speak, taking advantage of our cannabis stakeholder group. I mean, we are the ones who've been working to undo the damage of big tobacco and fighting against big tobacco, for example, for decades. But yet you hear that as an emerging issue from the opposition to marijuana, from the opposition to our stakeholder group. So anyway, we need to be able to represent our stakeholder group. We have had nobody that we saw substantively involved in Geneva in the World Health Organization process actually be able to speak before the commission in any of the various speaking slots that we've had over the last month. So I really just I want to introduce the cannabis stakeholder group. We're kind of big. I live in Virginia, the 16th legal state in the United States. There are 36 states that have legal cannabis, 28 countries that have cannabis programs, and this is emerging with guidelines now being launched that were not started, as was erroneously said in the panel in front of the entire UN today. It was not started after the WHO vote. It was started after the WHO proclamation that cannabis has medical value, which was done after several years of consultation with hundreds of NGOs from all around the world that were able to give evidence for and against, and certainly against the use of cannabis. And these voices were heard. You'd never know that to listen to the plenary discussion. So again, I thank you for your indulgence and taking so much time here today. I hope I didn't talk too long. Much love from Virginia.
Thank you, Michael. I mean, I think I've said, I've said this before, and I know I've said this to you as well. Like the speaker selection process is without any doubt, and I'm sure the other board members would agree with me here. It's the hardest part of this role, without any question. So first of all, thank you for introducing the group. I think that's really useful, and I welcome that you've done that. I can't obviously speak to the Geneva processes, but the Vienna processes, we've continued to try and open up as many as we can. I think today Doris from the CND Secretariat said there's been more than 150 civil society speakers in total since the UNGAS, which is great to hear. Every time we have a call for speakers, every time we have an opportunity, there's never enough slots to meet the demand. And I mean, not just the demand, but the quality demand. Every single time, I can't remember a speaker selection process that we've had to do where we haven't had a really difficult time, because when we've made a selection and we've tried to make sure that it's gender balanced and regionally balanced and thematically balanced and, ticking all of these important boxes, I can't remember a time when we've done that process and then looked at the list of who hasn't been selected and thought, oh no, like these, there's some really good people here that aren't going to get to speak because of the decisions we've made. So, I guess in a way, I don't want to offer that as, it's not really an answer. I guess I'm asking for your understanding, because it is really, really hard to do. And there's always, until the supply meets the demand, there is always going to be cases where incredible speakers don't get an opportunity at a particular meeting or something like this. And so, I guess, I mean, I hope, that kind of explains a little bit kind of where we're coming from. But also, the other thing to say is that we until that supply meets that demand, we keep pushing for more spaces. And, we're continuing to push INCB, because at the moment there isn't enough space to have, for civil society to be part of those conversations. And that's something we'll continue to push for. And so, yeah, I mean, I guess, go on, Michael. Sorry, you're trying to.
If I may, Jimmy. Well, just if I may interject, one thing that really stung our team, and that we were, sort of talking about in the back room before we entered this meeting. By the way, we've got like 15 people in a Zoom room watching the plenaries and stuff from all over the world in our cannabis little back room. But anyway, and anyone's welcome to join that's pro cannabis, I guess. But anyway, the thing is that, like the December plenary, there were actually 2 speeches that had the same content, that were anti-CBD, essentially, which, again, I'm not speaking to the content. Have the anti-CBD position, that's great. But I mean, look at that as a lost opportunity of the NGO community to put forth its best foot of the scholarly knowledge available within our community and the activism that on the front lines that represents the truth of the situation on the ground, whether it be drug abusers dying or people salvaging their life through medication. This is our world, and it's our chance to put it forward. It's not our B game or C game. I mean, you get me?
Yeah, no, I do, Michael, I do. And I don't, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say we've got every selection right. I'm not going to say that. It's really, really hard to do, but and I completely appreciate your passion and where you're coming from here. I mean, all I can say, and I always feel bad saying it, but all I can say is to please keep engaging, keep applying to speak, keep being part of that, because you're right, these are our opportunities to present civil society in its best foot. And as the board, we have always tried to make selections with that in mind, always. And I think generally speaking, and I'm trying not to look at this in terms of one specific meeting, but over the course of time, I think we've done an amazing job as civil society to be part of those conversations. So, no, I want you to know that you're heard. I totally take on board what you're saying. It is tricky, and we will continue to keep trying to do our best in that front. And to do that, we need everyone to keep submitting and to keep showing the full breadth of civil society voices that deserve to be heard. I can see that we've got hands from John, Is that a hand raised from earlier, John, or is that to this point? John, are you able to unmute? No, okay, the hand's gone down.
Yeah, I don't know why it didn't go down, but I'll just say to Michael, I know him, and I'm looked at as an anti-CBD person all the time, and I'm not. I'm actually very, very, very supportive of CBD as medication under the right controls. And Michael, I'd be happy to work with you anytime and even help you in that regard. So, reach out to me sometime.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Matej, over to you.
Yeah, just one shortly to emphasize maybe another important but maybe hidden criteria or how we select speakers. We look at the quality of abstracts as well. So my method of selection goes first to have a blind check on the abstracts, and then I select quality abstracts, and then I look at the geographical and gender balance, etc. So this, I want to emphasize this, when you apply next time, submit abstracts next time, take a look on the quality of the abstract. That's very, very important, at least from my point of view. Thank you.
Yeah, and we have been try to look at the abstracts first before we even look at names or anything else of that kind. I have hands from Kenzie, and then let's move on after that, because I'm also conscious of time and people's energy this week. So Kenzie, over to you.
Thank you, Jamie. No, I just wanted to second what Michael has been saying, and indeed reflecting on what you were saying. A lot of demand and very few slots available. Maybe it's time to really think about the process of selection and really having an actual discussion about it, because obviously, even though you look at the abstract, having twice the same statement in plenary is quite unusual. That's what happened last year during a highly important discussion. So I don't know if at some point VNGOC could engage in a process for this selection to see how we could work together to making something that can reflect all stakeholders in an efficient way. I mean, these are issues that I feel are discussed every year in the VNGOC Assembly. So maybe if we could take some action, we could address it and have the members be satisfied with the answer.
Yeah, I mean, so the speaker selection process, it is laid out in writing. We have a policy up on the website, which we share every time we do a speaker selection. Now, as I said to Michael, I'm not going to sit here and claim we've got it right every single time. That would be a ridiculous thing to say. And we haven't, and we won't get it right every time in the future. I mean, that's the nature of this task that we were given. But we do try to follow that process. So I would encourage you, Kenzie, to have a look at that process as it's written. If you think there's anything in there that doesn't work, or maybe there's a problem in how that process is crafted, then of course we can revisit that and put a proposal to the membership and have that discussion. Absolutely, we can. But from my perspective of what I've seen and what I hear that Michael's kind of raising is that I think the process itself isn't necessarily the problem. It's more that in a particular meeting there was disagreement about the selection that was made, and the nature of it is we're never going to get we're never going to be able to please everyone, and I'm not going to sit here and try to pretend otherwise. I think it's we will just keep trying to do our best using the policy that's laid out. But do have a look, Kenzie, at that policy and let us know if there's anything actually, more substantial that you think needs to change in how that policy works. But the other thing we've got to bear in mind is, also this is a very streamlined process a lot of the time. Sometimes we're only given confirmation of speaking slots and things like this, like a week before the meeting or 2 weeks before the meeting. So, quite often we've had to, we don't have the luxury of time to be able to convene working groups and, pull together much more extensive processes than the one we have. And again, it's just about being pragmatic and making sure that we react to every opportunity as it arises. I'll suggest that we move on, again, in the interest of time.
Yeah, just to close maybe on this topic, I thank you for your comments, and I just wanted to say that actually if this subject is brought today, I think it is actually because it was more than one time, it was repeated and on particularly important topics, and at some point the process at which I have been looking at doesn't seem to work, so that I might not come up at the General Assembly with an already processed solution, but I do come up with a strong ask to the board to undertake this action, because indeed we need the board to address that. And Jamie, I would be appreciated if you can have the same commitment as John Redman just had before to ensure that we can work across the lines and have a VNGOC that is really balanced. Thank you.
No, I hear it, and the board hears it as well. So we'll pick it up when we get a chance to meet for the first time as a new board in the next few weeks as well. So thank you, Michael, in particular for raising this, and thank you, Kenzie, and others as well. Any other issues to raise now, or can we call the meeting today? The only other thing for me to say is obviously just to remind you, we have a couple more dialogues tomorrow, so please do join us. We've got one relatively early in the morning with the INCB president, and that's obviously, that's going to be an important one for all of us, and one with the World Health Organization delegation later tomorrow. So you've got the full details there, and all the links and everything are on the VNGOC website. So, please do join us at those meetings. Particularly, remember, if you've submitted a question, please be there to read out your question. It's always so much better if you're there to read it out yourself rather than one of us reading it on your behalf. And the only other thing to mention, I don't have a slide for it, but just to note that tomorrow is obviously the last day of CND, but there are still side events taking place. From my count, I think there's 8 side events tomorrow, 7 of which are led by NGOs from different perspectives. So please do engage in those side events tomorrow. Normally, when you're in Vienna, normally Friday is a bit of a nightmare slot to get a side event, but hopefully now that everything's online, the participation will actually be just as strong as it has been throughout the week. Okay, I can't see any other questions, and I do appreciate all the comments in the chat, so thank you everyone for your support. So with that, I think I'll close the meeting, if I may.
I'm sorry, I have a very quick idea to just bring here for the reflections. It's not related to the previous point or to anything. It's just these. I wanted to thank the board for organizing these informal dialogues for so many time, and I just wanted to suggest to colleagues from the NGO community to think if maybe in the next year, maybe it might take 10 years, but maybe in the next 10 years we might want to see these dialogues further reaffirmed. I think these dialogues are a great platform for us all, whatever our perspective on the drugs issue, and maybe working towards formalizing these informal dialogues might be a good perspective of work to work together for the next years with the UNODC. So I just wanted to suggest that, strengthening and formalizing the informals.
Yeah, turning them from informal to formal dialogues. Yeah, that's fine. We'll explore that for sure, Kenzie. And I know you've already contacted me on that one. So we'll explore that and see what the possibilities and implications are for sure.
Okay.
And then Sylvia, I see you have a question as well about
thank you. Thank you, Jamie. I have just a technical question. I tried to watch the recorded side events and I couldn't find the link online. I don't know, is it possible to access this via the VNGOC site, or I couldn't find it on the CND site?
So my understanding is that eventually all the recording links will go onto the same CND website where the flyers and the registration links are. I don't know, maybe Sarah, if you're able to put that link into the chat. Now, obviously, if you haven't already submitted, if you have held a side event and you've recorded it, please send the link to the UN, to UNODC, so that they can upload it. But just because they're so busy this week dealing with everything else going on, I don't think anything's going to be uploaded until after the CND.
Wonderful. Thank you very
That's
much.
my understanding. But when it is uploaded, my understanding is that it will be uploaded to that page. If there's what I would say, Sylvia, if there is a side event that you're really keen to have a look at sooner, if you go onto that side event page, it does have the contact details for the lead organizer.
I already did that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So in 9 times out of 10, someone would be very happy to share the link, I'm sure.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for your time and for all of your support and cooperation this week. It's been a different CND, but I think we've made it work, and I do really appreciate all of your cooperation, as I've said, and participation. And yeah, enjoy tomorrow, and I hope it goes well. We'll be in touch after CND because I think we're going to really want to hear your feedback about how. So thank you, everyone. Thanks for your time, and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Bye.
One day you'll be the chief thing you see me.